And I'll start muting everybody. And there. Cool. Good evening, everyone. This is the Houston.NET Users Group of the Greater Houston area in partnership with the North Houston.NET Users Group. Meeting number 213 for GHADNUG. We have a lovely sponsor today, Whitaker IT, who will be talking a little bit and giving away some prizes as well. And we're going to have a great presentation by Germán Küber about how object-oriented is our code. We'll start with agenda. So we're going to talk about the agenda. Hey, we just did it. This is great. Announcements and infos, word from our sponsor, prize giveaway, and then we'll be talking. And that's pretty much how it goes. Housekeeping, wireless. Hey, congratulations, you're connected to the wireless. This is great. Restrooms are back that way. And there's free snacks, as always, in the break room. Go crazy, go nuts, as much as you'd like. We feel generous today, so it's on the house. It's on your house. We are proud to be part of the .NET Foundation of a group of user groups. And .NET Foundation recently has, just they have a new board. Now they're actually listing speakers and some other things. So we'll have a chance to kind of reach out and see what sort of topics we can bring. So if you're interested in any topics, or you want to present a topic, or you know someone who wants to present, or one of the speakers, reach out to us. You can reach out to me. You can post on the LinkedIn, the Facebook, Twitter, Meetup, whatever, and say, hey, I want to hear about this. And we'll see if we can wrangle up whoever it is and guilt them into giving us a presentation. .NET Conf is now. It's actually now, right now, immediately, right now. So going on for the past 2 days. This is day 3. So that countdown is way wrong because that was from last month. But watch out for the recordings. There's a lot of cool stuff, a lot of great presentations, a lot of announcements on technology. .NET 5 getting launched. And it's an exciting time for .NET development. Yeah, a lot of great presentations to look at too. I want to actually go back and watch the keynote because I think it's another Scott Hanselman fun thing. There's like 3 Scotts in the same room or something like that. Cool thing. Other news, connect with us on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Meetup, Twitter. This presentation, among others, will be posted on YouTube. And I'll post a link to our YouTube on the Meetup page in the comments. So once its recording is available, if you are interested in the event, it will show up and it will be there for you to enjoy. North Houston.NET User Group, also, you can reach out to them, website, Twitter, GitHub, Facebook, all the above. Other companies hiring, I haven't checked to see if this is up, but I think Whitaker IT will talk a little bit about theirs, but other places to look. If there's other places you know that are hiring, reach out to us, post it on the chat for other people. Go, hey, this is there. Or on LinkedIn is a good place to do it too. Word from our sponsor, Whitaker IT. Oh, you know what I did? You know what I didn't do? Pull that. Oh, that's definitely not what I want to do. Let's do this properly. It's not a slide, but it's a slide. Let me pull this full screen. Boom. And Linda is with us from Whitaker IT. She's going to tell us a little bit about it. And she's going to run a game on the chat for glorious, fabulous prizes. Linda, you want to unmute yourself and tell us a little bit about Whitaker IT?
Yeah, so Whitaker IT, we are headquartered in Houston. We've been here for over 30 years. We specialize in IT, and we're a staff aug and search firm. And what we really like doing is supporting organizations like the Houston.NET User Group that share information and are there for the users. We really appreciate that effort, and we support a lot of different groups. So that being said, if you have any questions, if you are looking for an opportunity, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, and maybe I can give you my email address in the chat or something, and my phone number, my contact information. Let's do that. But what I really like to do is just ask you guys some questions, get some reactions, and give some prizes away. So it's really going to be your choice tonight. We're giving away $20 DoorDash coupon or Starbucks, $20 Starbucks, whichever you would prefer, and we'll just email it to you. So I will have a practice question so we can sort of see how this is going to go, because I can't see the chat, but you can see it, right?
I can definitely see the chat.
Okay.
I absolutely can see the chat.
Okay, so hang on. Let me see if I can see it too. But so my first question, and this is practice, just so we can see how it's going to work, is what is the best way to find your next job? One word. Whitaker IT. Oh, well, I really like the Whitaker IT, but I will tell you the truth, right? Networking. Yes. So Assad is correct. Way to go. Awesome. Very good. So we'll get into the real questions. You guys didn't need a practice, it looks like. So keep in mind that these questions are my questions, and I am not a developer. So keep that in mind. All right. So I'm going to start with my number 2 question, which someone already knows. So you can't, the person that knows the questions can't play. Okay. So it's, is C# a dying language? If so, why? If not, why? Okay, everybody says no.
You
You just got C# 9. Okay, say one reason. Tell me one reason why that it's not a dying language. One feature, maybe. There we go. Yay! I think it was Tony was first, right?
the first no.
I was just looking for any. So what I have here.
Not dead. Just got C# 9.
Okay. So my answer, I'm just going to read you my answer real quickly. So it is still one of the best low-level languages. As for C# is positioning itself to be a language for the future. It can now be run cross-platform for web and mobile. It's open sourced, and it is actively developed. So, Garo, you can be the judge of who is the winner here.
I think from .NET C# not being a language, I think Pablo's got it right, is that it's C# 9 is out. There's constant advancement. There's new things going. So,
okay. All right. Well, you can be our judge. All right. So now.
I'm already being so judgy. You're like, yeah, you can be the judge. Fine.
Judgy. All right. So the next question is, so all I need is I'll just need his email address to send whatever choice he is, whatever he wants.
So Pablo, if you can send a direct message to Linda Ranestach, and she will send you a prize.
Yeah. I just need your email address. Okay. Bravo. On to the next question. How long has .NET run cross-platform? There we go. Since .NET Core, 5 years.
People are thinking too short.
Mm.
Go more. Think higher.
They're going to have to Google it, I guess.
Nope, John, it's a bit more than that. .NET is Mono. Mono is .NET. Or Mono, rather.
Since before .NET rocks, right?
More than 16 years.
Oh, so close. So close.
Pablo's not Googling enough.
Ah! Well, David's very close. David's
early 2000s. Okay, that's a close enough answer, and it was the first close enough answer. 2001 is the right answer. So Mono, it was released in 2001 initial version, and it ran on Linux, and it's .NET on Linux. It was not a very complete .NET, but it was still .NET running cross-platform. I think .NET Core really brought it more into the bigger one.
all righty. Okay, so David, if you can send me your email address, that would be awesome. There you go. There you go, Tony. The full explanation. All right, so this is the last one. So which two controllers are unified by .NET Core? Nobody knows.
Oh, Germán knows.
Okay.
Looks like Germán got it.
All right. Germán, way to go.
It's good news. Our speaker knows a lot about .NET.
There you go. You should.
He does.
Yay. Way to go. Way to go. Well, I appreciate you guys all participating, and I'm excited to give you your prize. Just let me know which one you want, and I will send it to your email address.
Cool. Let me get back to my slides. Where we go?
Oh, and the only other thing I wanted to say, I'm sorry, was that we do have a an open .NET position. It is for a mobile developer, so it has I never know how to say that. Xamarin. Yeah, that is just not a good word for me. But anyway, so it does require that, but it's also .NET and SQL. So I would love to talk to you about it if you're in the market. And I'll leave my email address too, so you guys can email me.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Linda. And thank you very much for sponsoring this month's .NET User Group meeting. We are doing some prize drawings behind the scenes, and I believe Lisa is going to be randomly selecting people. We've got some goodies to give away. We've got some monitors. We've got some JetBrains codes. We've got an Amazon gift card and some other goodies that we will reach out to you. And if you win, send us your contact info and probably a shipping address, because we'll get these shipped to you post haste. And so if you do get the JetBrains, make sure you use it quickly, because they tend to go month to month and they'll expire after a certain amount of time. So if you don't use them in time, you lose them. And if you lose enough of them, then they won't give us any more and you can't win more prizes. So sad. So if you do win it, make sure that you use it. All right. And tonight's talk by Germán Küber will be about how object-oriented is our code. And I will pass it over to Germán to take it away now.
Perfect. Give me a second.
You have the ball.
I have the ball. Give me a second. I will share my screen. Where is my screen?
It's in front of you.
This is my screen. Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Oh,
Okay,
nice.
give me a second. I will open my chat. I need to. The WebEx is a little complex. Wait a second. Great. Okay, perfect.
Cool.
Okay, hello everyone. No, what happened? No. Oh no. Again? Perfect. We can start again. Okay, super good. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Germán Küber. I am from Argentina.
You may have to unmute yourself. Okay, there we go.
You mute me. Okay, now it's okay?
All right.
Okay, great. Again, okay, I am from Argentina. I am the organizer of Net-Baires. It's the community of .NET from Argentina. It's a very big community, has more than 5 years. I'm very proud about that. Thank you very much for the invitation, for participating here. This is a very important talk because it's my first talk in English. After 5 years, this is my first talk in English. Then, if someone doesn't understand something, can write me in the chat and I can explain again because it's the first talk. Okay, perfect. One question is motivated this talk. The question is very easy, but maybe the answer is a little more complex. The question is, how object-oriented is my code? For you, how object-oriented is our code? It's a very good question because depending on the experience of the different developer, everybody will respond a different answer. For that reason, this talk I only give my answer and maybe can be different of the answer of the rest of the people. Okay, this is the only PPT that I did. The rest is all about code. I really love to write code in live, and I don't like a lot to prepare a presentation. That is the truth. Okay.
Quick question, Germán. Do you want questions to come as you go, or do you want to wait until certain points for people to ask questions?
No, if someone has question, can stop me and can make the question, can write the question, wherever. It's the same for me.
Okay, your screen sharing is also not working for me right now.
What screen is?
It's all hashy and you're making it too fancy apparently.
Okay, wait. Here, I appear in the screen. Yes.
Yes. Now you're back.
Okay.
Everything's back.
Wait, and now? Now appear in the screen or disappear?
Nope. Now it's a weird.
Okay. Stuff. Wait a second. I will move this here. Now, again.
Now you see you again.
Okay. Beautiful. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect.
Okay. Oh, wow. So for anyone that doesn't want to interrupt on the chat on the voice chat, you can leave a question on the chat, and I'll stop Germán and ask him, and we'll get it all going.
Right. I have the chat in the other screen. If someone writes something, I can read.
Perfect.
Okay. Perfect. I have this solution for trying to explain the different concept and the different idea that I will explain today. We can see this solution. This solution is a very easy solution. It's a ATM machine. Okay. The solution has two different projects. One project with the core or the application, and the other project with the test. Of course not, because every developer had to write the test. We have here the first class. The first class is the ATM machine. The ATM machine receive an account in the constructor and define a couple of methods, like deposit, withdraw, hold a verify, or something similar to verify. We can refactor the name. The name is verify, perfect. And summary, open account, close account, and the state of the account, okay? In general, this class doesn't have a lot of behavior. This class is only a bridge between the client and the account class. We can see the account class now. The account class has all the logic. We have a constructor. In the constructor, we receive two different parameters. One parameter is about the verification of the account. And the second parameter is about to explain if the account is open or is closed. After, we have other parameters like initial amount and the holder name from the account. we start, we assign all the value to the properties, and we have a particular rule here. We can't create account with less than 0 amount, okay? That sense, I suppose. After that, we have other method like summary that return the amount of the account. Here we have two particular methods that has all the logic, all the domain logic. The method deposit, receive the amount, is a decimal. And we have the first rule. The first rule asks, my account is open. In the case that the account is closed, we are throwing the domain exception, the amount closed exception. We can take out this because it's in Spanish. And after that, we are asking other question. My account is open. Yes, but is verified? No. In that case, we are throwing the exception. In the case that my account is open and verified, we are executing the real logic of this method. We execute the deposit money. The deposit money receive the amount and add the amount from the amount that I have already in my account. After we have the withdraw method. The withdraw method has a very similar rules. Validate if the account is open, validate if the account is open but not verified. And after that, in the case that the account is open and verified, we are executing again the real logic. This real logic has one rule more, because if we want to withdraw the money, we have to check if we have enough money for take out the money. Really, for that reason, first we are checking if the amount that we want to withdraw is bigger than the amount that we have in the account. In the case that we don't have enough money, we are throwing again other exception. Account has not enough money. In other case, we are withdrawing the money from the amount of the account. After that, we have a couple of methods that hold the verify, that we want to verify the account. After open, that we only change the flag from false to true. And other close. In that case, we are changing from open to close. And other method that will return the state of the account. Great. This is the class. We don't have more line of code of that. And now I have a question. I want that everyone put in the chat type to score my class between 1 and 10. If you have to choose a score. How object-oriented is this code? 1 is 0 object-oriented. 10 is super object-oriented. If someone want to put in the chat, put the score. I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 7. Okay, good. 7. Hola. Come on. The rest of the people, I want more score. 7, 5. Okay. And for the rest, nobody understood what they say. No, what are you talking about? 4, 6. Okay. While everyone put the score, I will show the test. The tests are very simple. At the beginning, we are creating the account. We are sending all the parameters. We are creating the ATM machine. We pass the account class. And after that, we are executing the different method, and we have the test for every method, like a very responsible developer. Great. Okay, I read 7.5. Okay, 7, 6, 4, 6. Okay, the rest of the people, I suppose, are asking, what is object-oriented? What are you talking about? Okay, perfect. Great. We will try to improve this class in the object-oriented direction. First, we will try to detect one failure that we have here in the class. The first thing that we can see here is one code smell, that the name of the code smell is primitive obsession. I don't know if someone knows that code smell, but in particular, that code smell talk about to use this kind of the type for represent the domain concept. Why? Because here, if we see, we are using the decimal. It's a primitive type. We are using decimal for represent a concept of the domain, because what concept of the domain we are managing here? We are working with the money. And because we are using the decimal, we have to do this validation, for example. After that, we can see that we have other kind of the validation that is depend of that decimal. For example, here we are counting the money, and we have other validation that depend of this decimal. For that reason, what is the unit test of object orientation? What is the test? That test is okay, I don't know. We can see we can improve after. Okay, we will try to improve this code, and we will see what happens when we are improving this code in a way. For example, for the first refactor, I will create a class money. This class money will represent the real domain concept. For example, this money has to have a real value. For that reason, we'll receive in the constructor the amount. And after that, we will keep this amount inside of the class money. Great. But we can see here that we have one validation. We have one validation that is near to the real amount. For that reason, we can take out this validation from here, for example, and we can move here. This is the first way, field refactoring, that we are doing. Okay, after that, we can start to change. For example, the decimal we can replace for money. This we can replace for money. And we can start to replace all the decimal for the money. Because now we will not use more decimal, because we don't want to use decimal. Because if we are using decimal, we have to validate in every place of my code. I need to put the different validation that has a relation with the amount. For that reason, we can create abstraction money, and we can put all the validation and all the domain rules inside of the money. Okay, perfect. But now we have a problem. Why? The first thing, we will replace amount here, and we will replace with the money. Exactly like that. We can refactor this name, and we can put money too, because it's not more amount. And we can replace here again with the name money and with the name money. Perfect. But now we have a problem. Why? Because here we are adding this quantity of the money to this quantity of the money. And now we don't have more decimal. Instead of that, now we have a class. What can we do with this? Okay, we can do a very interesting thing that is very useful when we are working with the object. That is, we can override this particular symbol. We can do this, for example, and we can override the plus symbol. And here we will receive two different money, and we will define what happens when we try to plus one money to other money. And the behavior that we are giving is, instead of plus the different value, we can create a new money with a new value. The amount from the first money plus the amount to the second money. And we will return a new money. And after that, if we see here, we see that we can add one money to other money. We are not working more with the primitive types, and now we are working in particular with objects. We can replace here with money too, and we can replace here with money. Great. Here we have again the same problem. We want to subtract money with other money. Again, we can do exactly like that. We can again override this operator, and we can override the operator from money when we want to subtract money to other money. But now we know that our domain doesn't allow to have less than zero, it's not pesos, it's from Argentina. We can stand dollar, Europe, I don't know which kind of the money, but we can put this logic exactly here. And we can check if the money that we want to subtract to the money that we already have is less than zero. We can throw this exception. And now, if we return here, we can see that we can take out this validation. because this validation now is inside of the object money. We can subtract that, and we can replace this like this. And we are reducing a lot of code from my account class. Here, we need to return the decimal. We can return, for example, the amount. We have to see that this amount has only a getter, doesn't have a zeta. Why? Because we don't want to modify this amount. When we create this amount, we don't want to change. Why? Because this is not a class. This is something like a value object. If someone knows what is domain-driven design defines the value object. Value object is some structure that is immutable. For that reason, we have now a one immutable class. Then we can replace class like struct, because we don't want to have a class, because the money, we don't want to pass like a reference, because it's an immutable object, or in language of the domain-driven design, is a value object. Okay, we see that we refactor a lot of code. We took out a lot of code from the class account. But now we have this. In my case, and I hope that the rest of the people think exactly the same, I don't like to throw exception in the constructor. Why? Because nobody is waiting when create some object, nobody's waiting exception. If you throw exception inside of the constructor, or you put the logic inside of the constructor, I don't know, it's a little tricky, because when you create an object, you only want to create an object. You don't want to receive exception. Do you want to receive a message? You don't want to care about the creation of the object. For that reason, we can do something very particular. We can do some factory, builder, I don't know, whatever you want. For that, we can do something like that, static money, create. Here we can receive the decimal amount, and inside of my factory method, what the hell? Here on my factory, we can put this validation, exactly this validation. And in the case that this validation is okay, we can return the new money with the amount. And now we can put this like private, because we don't want that nobody create the money outside of this class. And now we can see that we are moving all the logic outside of the constructor, and we are putting all the logic in some method like factory or wherever you want. We can put the name that whatever we want. Great. What we earning with this? Okay, in particular, we are encapsulating all the logic of the creation of the money inside of this method. And when we are executing some method, maybe we are waiting some exception. In the case that the method throw exception, you say, okay, could be because the language allow that, and someone like to throw exception. In the real object-oriented programming, we don't want to throw exception neither. In the real object-oriented programming, we want to work always with object. Instead of throw exception, we can return some message in the case that we can create the money, and we can return an error, we can return the result. There are a couple of a pattern. We can, the more easy way, we can return like tuple, and we can return something like that. That is a very, very basic way. And in the case that there are some error, we can return the tuple with the false, and here some null. We don't want the null neither in the object-oriented programming, but this is the first step in the good way. But we will not do this because we only have 1 hour and we can't do all of this back. Great. We will refactor this and we will send to other file. Great. Fantastic. We have all the logic of the money inside of the money. We are operating now with object instead of the primitive types. We are assigning directly, and we are comparing. Here we can override this symbol 2, or in this case, for be more easy, we can use this. But we can override this symbol 2 for compare the amount with the int or with other money. Okay, great. I suppose that we archive a lot. This method, we took out a lot of logic from this method. We took out a logic from the constructor too. Okay, what will we do now? You will go to the test. I detected other problem. Here we have to send a money create, and we can send this. But now we detect other problem. Here again, we are sending false and false. What is this false? What is this false? Maybe I know that because I wrote this class, but if I leave the class from 1 week, 2 weeks, I suppose that I will return and nobody will understand what happened with this class and say, what is this parameter? What is this parameter? Because it doesn't have sense, doesn't have a real meaning. It's only a false and false. And what is the problem with the primitive type? That the primitive type doesn't have sense in my domain because it has sense only in the context of the framework. But we are creating a domain around the framework. For that reason, we can use all the tools that the framework give me for try to give different meaning. For that reason, we can do something for hide this constructor that I don't like it. We can create something like, for example, I will create some static class account builder. Or we can create a name, we can put account factory, maybe it's better. And in this account factory, I will create my different account in the different state. I will return account and I will put, for example, open account, right? And my open account will return the account in the state open. This will receive a money because the money is a concept of my domain. It's not a primitive value with the value money, and I will receive the string holder. And this will return a new account. And I know if the account is open, I want to send this parameter in true, this parameter in true, this parameter I receive, and this other parameter I receive. Very similar to this, if I want to create a closed account, I can send this close account, and I will send this parameter, for example, in false, and we can send this parameter in false. And now we are earning a lot of things, but here we have to use this internal. Why? Because if we don't put this internal, everybody can create account from outside of the project. If we put that internal, nobody can create account. If we come here now, we see that we have an error. Why? Because we can't create account. For create account, we have to use account factory dot close account. And we are encapsulating all the parameter false, the Boolean parameters. And now that has more sense because what I creating here, I am creating a closed account. It's very easy to understand. I don't need to read every parameter and understand what is this false, what is this false. It's very easy. I want to create a closed account, I use this method. If I want to create an open account, I execute this method. Great. We will go to this class and we'll refactor again and send to this to other file. Perfect. But now I know that we can improve this class. Why? Because here I see that I have a lot of logic near to my class, and this logic again is very near to one primitive type. Why? Because I have the isOpen primitive type, I have the isVerify primitive type, and because we are using again the primitive type, we have to put this kind of logic because we are asking what happened with this primitive type. Okay, it's happened something, I will do this. In other case, I will do this. In other case, I will do this. And exactly like that, I will do this, I will do this. Again, if we come here, when we want to verify the account, if this is not open, we throw exception. In other case, we do again with the close. Again, we can see that all of this logic is fault of this primitive type. If we change this primitive type and we put a domain concept, we can take out this logic and we can put the logic in our class. But what class we have to create? For this kind of a thing, we want to encapsulate all of this in one domain concept. What kind of a domain concept? Okay, we can see what is verify, what is open. If we see, we can identify that verify and open are different states of my account. This state is open, this state is verified, is closed, is unverified. For that reason, we can start with fair approach. We can do class, account, state, open. And inside of this, I will put all the logic that is near to the open state. For example, I will copy this and I will put this method here. What is the logic that I am using when the account is open? When the account is open, I am not using this logic because this logic when it's closed. I am not using this logic because the logic is when it's unverified. And I am using this logic. And what is this logic? If I come here again, I can see that this logic is about to add the money. Okay. This logic is the logic of the open state. But what happened with this? The logic is about to modify the internal state of account. And of course, I don't have this state here because this state is from account. For that reason, I can do something like that. I can use a very powerful technique that is, I can do something like action, money, and for example, I can use something like deposit. This is deposit, and we can use something like deposit money. And now, in the case that the account is open, and we are sure that the account is open because we are inside of the class open, we can execute this method. The method deposit money, and we can say the money. We can take out it. Okay. This method, withdraw. I will copy this and I will put in my class account state open, and I will see. I am not executing this logic because this logic when it's closed. I am not executing this logic because is when it's unverified. And again, I am executing this logic. And again, I have exactly the same problem. This logic is about to the internal state of account, and I don't have this state here. For that reason, I don't want to expose the internal state of account, and for that reason, I can do exactly the same. I can pass this action with the name withdraw money. And then I can execute this with the money. And I will take out this. Great. I will continue looking what other kind of the logic I have. For example, I will use this open. Open change the state of my account from open to close. And exactly like that, open and close. I will copy this method here. And I will see what logic I use for this case. Okay, in this case, I am changing the state of the account from close to open. But I am inside of the open. For that reason, I don't have to do anything. But in that case, I want to pass my state from open to close because I am in this class is the logic of open. If I execute the close method, I want to change the internal state again from open to close. What can I do with this? Okay, I can do again this kind of a thing. Is one option. But in that case, what can I do with this? Because my idea is to try to eliminate this kind of a thing. For that reason, other technique that I will use here is I will return a new state. For example, I will create another state, public class account state close, And when I want to close my account, I will return the new instance of the closed state, right? And I will use something similar to this. In the case when the account is open, I will return myself. Because if I open and say open the account, I say I am open. I already open. I don't need to do anything. But of course, for return something, we can put here a void. For that reason, we can do something like create I can do this. I can use a refactor, extract interface, and I can extract the interface, something like that. And now I can return a new state. I can return a new state. I can implement here again all the method, and here I have all the logic of the open state. I will do now exactly the same with the closed state. For example, when I want to close the account and I am inside of the closed state, I can return this. If I want to open the account, I can return new account state open. And I want to see here what happened when I want to deposit money and the account is closed. I want to throw the exception because I can deposit the money. For that reason, I will put this logic here. And what happened when I want to withdraw the money and the state is closed? I can take this and I can throw here. And I have two states. I will not create the rest of the state because I suppose that this illustrates the idea. And I have to do something with this. For that reason, of course, I will remove this. I will remove is open and is verified because I don't want to work with the primitive type. And I will remove this. And instead of receive the primitive type, I will receive account state. And I will keep the reference of this here. And now, instead of this validation, all of these validation are inside of the state class. For that reason, I can execute deposit, and I can send the money I want to deposit, and I can send the deposit method. Exactly the same with the withdraw. Instead of this logic, I don't want to do this logic because all of this logic are inside of the different classes, and I can execute the withdraw method. And again, I can send this parameter. When I want to open, exactly the same. I don't want to put any logic. I only can do something like that. Open. And when I want to close, I want to do something like that. But we can see here that we have some logic here because for closed account, we have to see the amount. For that reason, we can do something like that. We can send here the money amount. We can change all the signature, thanks or resharpa. And in the case that we want to close the account, we can check this logic. In the close, if we want to is open and we want to close before to return a new state, we can check this. We can check if the amount here is money. Can check this. Before to return a new state, we can check this validation. And now we have already extract all of this logic. We can remove, and we can do exactly like that. We can put this here. Instead of open, we can do close. I will take out this because for this example, I doesn't care here, and I can send the money. Here I have error because this is a read-only property. I can take out a read-only. And hold and verify, I will not implement this because it's exactly the same, but other state mode. Great. Now I will try to compile. And of course, I have a couple of errors. Why? First, because, okay, this is because we have to create money, create money, create money. And the other error is inside of the factory, because the factory is sending the primitive type. Instead of this, if I want to initialize like open, we can send state open. If we want to initialize with a close, we can send the close. And we have already checked out all the primitive type. It's only we have the holder that will not modify now. And we have here again this example. Here we create a new open, and we can create here the money create things. And now it's about this compiling. Yes, perfect, it's compiling. And now we can see what happened with the class. What happened with the class account? I see that the class account doesn't have more logic. The only logic that we have is that this withdraw method that we can, instead of this, we can use a lambda expression here, and we can put money, something like that. If not amount, we can put amount. And we can do that. We can take out this logic exactly like that. We can do something like that. Amount. And we can put this amount here. And we can take out this method. We can refactor this. And now we can see that this class is very similar to the ATM class, because this ATM class doesn't have any logic. The only work of this class is like a bridge that takes something and call other object, and the other object will do all the thing. And now when we execute deposit, if we come here, again, we doesn't have any logic. The only logic is to call other object that will do other thing. And if we go inside of this object, I will see that this object doesn't have a lot of logic neither. The only logic is execute other method and return to the other place. Now we can execute this program to see what happened with this. We have the ATM machine. For example, we will do something like ATM, like deposit money. We will deposit 1,000 money, and after that, ATM like withdraw. We can withdraw 500. And after that, we can do something close account. And after that, we can try to withdraw money. Great. We can debug that or see what happened. Great. First step, we have the account. This account, if we check here, has one money that have 1,000 and has a state. The state is open. We can execute the deposit. Deposit. Enter to the ATM method. ATM method called the account method. The account method create the money. The money validate if the amount is less than 0. In that case, create the money. And after, call the deposit method. The deposit method call the account state. Go to the account state. We are inside of the account state open. The account state open, when the account is open, we can deposit the money. For that reason, we will execute the deposit method. The deposit method has the logic to add money to the amount of money that we already have. Now we have 1,000 and we will add 1,000 more. We return. And if we see now, we can check that our account has 2,000. Now we will withdraw, again, exactly the same, create the money, check the rules, call the withdraw money, again, call the withdraw. Inside of the withdraw, we call the state open. The state open withdraw the money. The money now is 2,000, and now we'll take out and subtract 500. Again, we return, and we can see the ATM machine has 1,500. Now we will close the account. if we close account, we execute the close. We are here, and again, we will execute the close from the open. We see if we have more than zero of the money, we will throw the exception. Anyway, I will try to move this and will return the close state for see the example. If we return the state, now the state is open, but if I check now, the state of my account is closed. I will execute the withdrawal. What happens when I want to withdraw? In this case, I create the money, execute withdrawal, but now when I execute withdrawal, instead of go to the open state account, I am inside of the closed state account. And if the account is closed, I can take out the money. For that reason, this class will throw the exception, account closed, exception. And now I can do anything with my account. Okay, in summary, we can see what happened. I will refactor this, send to its own file, and we can see the change of our class. We will start with the code that use a lot of objects, really, when I asked the question at the beginning. Okay, when I see this, when I started with this class, I had a lot of logic inside of this class. But now we can see that we don't have any logic here. The only logic that we have is this, and is this. We don't have more logic than that. The rest of the method is only a bridge, is receiving a parameter and is calling other object, and the other object is doing something and is returning or is when it's doing other thing. We can see that our class is super short, and all the method doesn't have more than one line. Every method has exactly one line. All of this method has one line. If we go to withdraw, we can see that is exactly the same. Every method has exactly one line, except of this that has 2 lines or 3 lines, but in general only has 1 line. And that is the power of the object-oriented programming. The object-oriented programming is always exactly the same. See something, create an abstraction, take that logic and put in one abstraction. And when the logic is more than 2 lines, 3 lines, 4 lines, we can create other abstraction, take out the logic and put more than that. And after you only have to call the object and call the object and call the object, and you will have a chain of objects calling one to other. At the end of the chain, we will do something and we will start to return. This is the difference between write code with object and write code in the object-oriented way. And that is the end. This is the end of the code, and that is the end of the design.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this transformation, and I'm seeing that you went from code that I could look at on one screen and I could see what it does, to now code that is spread out across multiple areas to understand how it works. How do you bridge that gap of understanding to teach people how the code works, or how do you document it so that you can have the good design, but you can also make it understandable for people to learn how it works?
Yeah, that is a trade-off. You need to, this is maybe in the extreme way, because this is a trade-off like all the thing. The object-oriented programming is a good way, but if you put a lot of objects, you finish with this kind of a code. It's all a chain, and for do a small thing, you have to call one object to other object to other object to other object. And if you see the tree of the design, you will have a couple of objects, and you say, okay, I only have to do a hello world, and I have 1,000 of the object. Is a good design? No, maybe no. But again, this is only a demonstration that what is the kind of the thing that we can do. Of course, after it depends of the designer, it depends of the developer, of the architect to take a different decision and understand what is the limit and say, okay, I don't want to create more than this object, because more than this object is very difficult to understand. You need to understand what is the limit, what is the trade-off that you can do. But of course, yes, totally true. You are counting the logic that you have in one method that is very easy to read from here to here, and you have now thousands of the objects that are interacting one with other on of that. But again, we will remember that it's an example, because in the real world, maybe this state maybe will not have only this line. We'll have a couple of lines, and this method that we refactor at the beginning, instead of have 10 lines, we'll have, I don't know, 1,000 lines. And when we refactor 1,000 lines, and we create 10 objects with 100 lines each object, we are earning a lot of readability. But again, it's always a trade-off. We have to take a decision that when we can stop with the creation of the object. Do you understand that? Close account is cerrar cuenta. Yeah, maybe. Hello, Pablo. Pablo is talking to me in Spanish. Send me a couple of messages. Where are you from, Pablo?
Hey, Germán, I'm from Uruguay. I'm one of the organizers of Be Open.
Aha, so good, very well. Okay, where are you living now? In Uruguay?
No, in Texas, in Houston.
Okay, so good. Okay, the world is very small.
Yep.
Okay, this is the end of the design. I don't know if someone has another question. Now, maybe the question is again, how object-oriented is our code? We can see our code, we can understand the beginning of the code, at the end of the code, and we can see, okay, how object-oriented is my code? Because when I see the first time that I see that kind of the code, my answer was, my code is 0 object-oriented. I don't want to write my code. I don't want to show anybody my code because I am not proud about my code. That was my answer about to the question of how object-oriented is my code a couple of years ago.
It seems less object-oriented because you're passing funcs around now. It's
more functional. Yeah, exactly. It's in the same way. I suppose that we have to move in this way because C#8, C#7, C#9 added a lot of concept about to the functional programming, link queue, records, tuple, and a lot of concept, and are very complementary, I suppose. That we can create a very fantastic design if we use the powerful of the functional programming. The value object is the immutability came from the functional code, and I suppose that are very complementary, and we can create a very fantastic design with the best part of the functional programming and with the best part of the object-oriented programming. Yeah, I really love the functional code. I have a couple of talk about the functional code. I love Haskell. I really love Haskell. Now I am moving in the way of the functional programming. But the problem is that the C# is not a functional language. It's an object-oriented language. For that reason, we can't write only functional code in the C#. We can do it. But if we do that kind of the code, after we have to explain to the rest of the programmer. And how can you explain to the rest of the programmer? Yes, this is a I don't know, different concept of the functional programming. Maybe it's a little headache. And more than that, I saw that a lot of developers can't understand the object-oriented programming. If you're trying to explain functional programming, you imagine the headache of the people will be a mess.
Just avoid the word monad and you're fine.
Of course, yeah, you have to avoid monad concept. Yes, of course. But it's very interesting because I don't know if I explained that instead of return of exception, we can use instead of here when we create money. Instead of throw the exception, we can return something like result. That is a very common pattern that we can find in C#. And this is moving in the way of the monad. if you want to use the powerful of this kind of the pattern, you have to use the monad. You have to use that kind of the concept. But I tried to explain that the last week in my company, and I took out the library because I implemented the library, the functional library with this kind of the code. And after 3 hours to try to explain, I say, okay, I will take out this. I will not use that concept because it's very difficult.
This actually reminded me quite a bit of I don't know if you've seen any of Vladimir Horakov's talks.
Yeah.
It reminded me of that style of domain modeling with functional concepts and object-oriented concepts kind of in the same.
There is a very interesting talk that is railway programming. Railway programming that is talking about this. There is only a couple of talks. If you put in YouTube, appear 5 talks, I suppose. I have 1 talk, but in Spanish about that. But in English, appear only 5 talks, and all is the same talk. And it's talking about how to use the railway programming, that is functional programming with other name, because someone say, okay, I put a name for write this code inside of the C#. It's the monad, but with the railway programming. It's exactly the same. For avoid to use the monad concept, because when you say monad, it's a problem.
Right, which is silly. Like you got to stay away from map. You have to say select.
I love when I find someone that use the monad concept. When I find someone that say that kind of the thing, I say, wow. Yes, it's a good way. It's a good thing to learn the functional programming, because in a couple of years we will be working in the functional core, yes or yes. Because all the market is moving in this direction. All the languages are moving in this direction. JavaScript, TypeScript, C# is more functional every day, and Go is functional. Every language are more functional than a couple of years ago, and for that reason, I suppose that it's very important to understand the concept of the functional programming, because are very complementary with the option-oriented programming too.
Nice.
Great. Other question?
Does anyone else have questions?
No more question. Okay, very good.
All right. Well, if that's it, thank you, Germán, for volunteering to present and talking to us about object-oriented programming. To me, it's interesting to see you transform from that kind of classical approach into something, and each time you kind of revealed a little bit that was interesting, taking away the extra things that could possibly go wrong or how users could use the coding correctly. And so it was that progression was really nice to see. It's like, oh, okay, that's why he's doing that. Okay, now I see why he's doing that. And what you end up with is like, okay, this is really like something that you could then extend into different operations, and you could see how you could take it forward. But if you could post some links, that you said there was some interesting talks about the functional programming, and if you could post it in the Meetup, that'd be great to just share with people in case they want to learn a little bit more about it.
I will share a very interesting book about the functional programming that I am reading now. I read a couple of books about the functional programming in C#, but this book is the best. But this book talk a lot about to the concept of the functional programming. Maybe if you don't know anything about to the functional programming, which book is? I can see. Put more near to the camera. Which book is?
The functional programming in C# and F#. John Skeet did some of the F# work.
I didn't read that book, but
yeah, it's a good one.
I read a couple of books about the functional programming, and all of that book are very different to this book. Maybe your book is similar to the book that I sent here, but compare after, because this book has a lot of concepts, very interesting. Has a very huge repository with a lot of examples and with a lot of exercise, and it's very interesting to understand all the concept. I will see that book.
Yeah, this one it does basically the same examples in C# and F#. John Skeet was involved in the writing, so kind of a good C# pedigree.
Very well. Yes, I recommend to everybody that has to know or has to learn the concept of the functional programming, because you will understand the LINQ library very different. after to understand the concept of the functional programming, you will write code in LinQ and you will see other words very different. You will use exactly the same operator, but you will understand the operator and say, okay, I understand what I am doing here. Wow, it's not only a select. Behind of the select and the word is a word. There are a lot of concepts, a lot of patterns, a lot of things. I say, wow, I am doing a lot of things with the select.
So, Germán, what would you think is a good introduction for people into functional programming? Like first time just getting into it, how should they start?
For the functional programming, I use Pluralsight. I don't know if someone know Pluralsight. Inside of the Pluralsight, you have a very interesting course. I did a lot of courses about the functional programming. That is true, but I didn't appreciate the functional programming until I started with the Haskell. When I started with the Haskell, with the real, because you are understanding the concept of the functional programming and you are writing functional programming, but it's not functional programming. It's functional programming in C#. When you use some language that Haskell, you have to learn the real functional programming and all the concept has sense and say, okay, now I understand all the real concept. But I will say this course is very interesting to start with the functional programming. And this course explained the library, one library that this man that Vladimir wrote about to result that thing that concept I showed, that is the result, and the result with a couple of methods of the functional programming like monad, functors, and a lot of patterns are very interesting. I recommend this a lot. And for the JavaScript, I have one book from JavaScript too, if you want. I will search because I started with one book for JavaScript and it's very interesting to try to apply the functional concept in the JavaScript too. Okay, I don't have the book. After I will put in the Meetup. I don't know where is it.
Yeah, I think as people are doing, anyone who's doing React programming in JavaScript, I think they're starting to move in that using React hooks gets you into that functional mindset a bit more.
The reactive extension.
No, React hooks.
With React hooks.
Mm-hmm. Well, reactive extensions as well. Yeah, for sure. Angular with reactive extensions and GRXF, but that'll also throw you over the edge into functional programming.
Yes, but I suppose with the functional programming is very similar with the object-oriented programming, because the people suppose that when you create an object, you are programming in object-oriented way and say, yes, I am writing an object-oriented code. Why? Because I have one class and the constructor. But that is not an object-oriented code. You only have a class. Why? It's not an object, and with the functional concept, it's exactly the same. I talk with a lot of guys that say, no, I am writing a functional code in JavaScript. Why? Because instead of use class, I am using function. No, you are only using function. Okay, it's the first step, but you are not writing a functional code. If you want to use a functional code, you have to know a lot of concepts and use a lot of things. And I suppose that is exactly the same problem with the object-oriented and with the functional way. But the React is true that the React with the hooks is the first way to move in the functional way. But it's only the first step. After that, you need to discover a big word. I am searching the book. I have the book in one place. I will send. With for example, the other very interesting library is the RxJS for write a reactive code. RxJS is all functional. Maybe you can use all the methods, but if you learn the concept of the functional, you understand all the methods that appear in RxJS. If you are Angular, for example, that you have to use the extension, the Rx library, that push you to write a functional code, because RxJS is 100% functional, and you need to understand the million of the operators that RxJS has. We have Rx.NET too. It's a very interesting, and I don't know if it's not very useful, because for the web it's not very useful, the Rx extension, but for play it's very good.
If any of you are interested in learning more about functional programming, next Wednesday is the functional programming meetup. It's virtual now. Can
you send the link?
Absolutely.
Yes, I am inside of the Meetup of the Haskell. It's very interesting. It's a little bit deep because they are talking about other concepts, super deep, but it's a good community.
Yep. The next one is Eric Norman talking. So,
Here I have the book. This is other book. This is other book for the JavaScript write functional code in JavaScript. It's super interesting, that book. I recommend that. Both books are very good. In general, I don't like to read books, but this book about the functional code, I love it. I love it, that books, and I am reading, and I really appreciate all the concepts that I am learning.
Cool. Great. Any other questions or comments for Germán?
Okay, I want to say thank you very much for the opportunity to give my first talk in English. I am very happy with that. This is the first step to my idea is to want to go to one conference in London the next year. And for that reason, I need to practice my English and I need to practice my conference in English because I give a lot of talk in Spanish, but now I need to cross the border of Argentina, of the Latin America, and I need to start to speak in English to the rest of the world. It's my achieve for this year.
Thank you very much.
So if you should post your LinkedIn.
Yes, of course.
I would actually really like to introduce you to a friend of mine. He did the same thing. He's from Brazil, and when he came to the U.S., he was like, "I'm going to learn English. I'm going to learn English really well," and that's what he does. I mean, he's a pretty popular speaker at conferences. So that's
very well. Here I send my LinkedIn.
cool.
I feel a lot of afraid before of this meetup because the accent from Texas is a very difficult accent to try to understand. When I had the meeting before with Haro, he was talking and saying, "Oh my gosh, I wouldn't understand anything in the meetup. Fuck!" But that was very good. That was very good. Yes, it was not the most easy accent for a start.
Just want to do a quick announcement. Let me stop the recording. There we go.